I married John, a single father. One day, his daughter Jessica brought home her fiancé. I've been to friends' weddings several times, but the idea of attending as a mother feels like a dream come true. Lost in thought, Jessica burst out laughing. What are you thinking? Huh? You're not my real mom, just an outsider. So, you're not invited to the wedding? Jessica wore a spiteful smirk. Pretty audacious, huh? You're just the maid and the ATM. My real mom is the only mom for me. My joy quickly faded. So, you're inviting your real mom, huh? Of course, she's family. So, please, don't show that ugly face of yours. It'd be embarrassing. Got it? Memories of all the harsh words I'd received from Jessica over the years came flooding back. For over a decade, I tried to close the distance between us, often crying behind the scenes, and raising her with all my heart. Yet, this is how she repays me. Fine. If that's how you feel, I won't hold back. Be prepared on the wedding day. My name is Barbara, a 55-year-old housewife. I've been working as an employee at the company I joined right out of college, handling overtime and even business trips. However, being so engrossed in my job, I struggled to maintain relationships. Some found it odd, thinking I prioritized work over romance, and others held the outdated belief that a woman should settle down and focus on family, causing me to miss out on marrying. That's when John, from a regional branch which could be likened to a place in Nebraska, came into the picture. John, having divorced 3 years earlier, was raising his young daughter Jessica as a single father. He had been promoted after successfully completing a major project, but he struggled with managing his workload. However, I was drawn to his genuine and honest nature, and as a team leader, I often had his back. A few months later, he confessed his feelings for me over dinner, which was quite a surprise. After all, I was 5 years older than him and not great at romance. Looking flustered, John told me. I thought I was done with marriage. But getting to know you, Barbara, I realized I really want you by my side. Thank you, it means a lot. But how does your daughter feel about this? Jessica gave me the green light. She told me not to hesitate and that it's okay to bring a new mom into our lives. So, in addition to our dates, we spent time together with Jessica. We visited places like aquariums and theme parks, getting to know each other. The following year, we tied the knot. Nice to meet you, Barbara. With an innocent smile, I felt on top of the world. Having given up on marriage and having kids, I never thought I'd become a mother to such a lovely girl. At that time, I was completely unaware of Jessica's personality hidden behind her smile. Jessica looked like a child model, so darn cute. Her refined features didn't much resemble kind-hearted John and seemed to take after her mother, who had divorced. However, whether she inherited her personality from her mother or was spoiled growing up, once we started living together, Jessica quickly revealed her malicious true nature. One minute she'd be in a good mood, the next she'd be upset over the smallest thing. If things didn't go her way, she wouldn't hesitate to complain without considering the feelings of others and would easily lie. For instance, in 5th grade, there was a field trip, so I woke up early to prepare a packed lunch. After getting married, John switched to a part-time job and we divided the housework. While I can cook, planning meals isn't my strong suit. I left the cleaning, shopping, and cooking to John, while I took care of the laundry, ironing, and managed our finances. That time, I took a recipe from John and excitedly packed her favorite meatballs and potato salad. Yet, when she returned, the lunchbox was untouched. Jessica, were you not feeling well? When I asked out of concern, Jessica retorted with a bored expression. I left it 'cause it was gross. Isn't that obvious? John, standing next to her, turned pale. Jessica, Barbara came home at 10 p.m. last night and woke up at 5 a.m. to make that for you. Don't you feel grateful at all? Huh? I don't care. Normally you do all the chores, Dad. Don't act all motherly now. She lifted her chin defiantly and stormed off to her room. I forced a smile and apologized to John. She's in full-blown teenage rebellion. She probably feels like I've stolen her dad away. As she entered middle school, Jessica's attitude worsened. I had a half day off and came for a school visit. "Jessica, did you forget your handkerchief?" I asked as class ended. She glared at me with fierce eyes and snatched the handkerchief from my hands. "That's Jessica's mom? You two don't look much alike." To her friend's comment, Jessica grimaced. "That old lady isn't my mother. My real mom is way prettier," she said and continued. Right, Jessica's family had a stepmom situation. My dad got charmed by his older boss. Pretending to be my mom is super annoying. Hey, that's a bit much. Poor your mom. Her friends laughed as Jessica quickly left the scene. But that wasn't the end. When she got home, she lashed out at me. "Why did you come? It's so embarrassing." "Stop it." "I'm sorry. I had the day off and wanted to see you study hard in class." "I hate being mistaken for having you as my mother. Realize how pathetic you look." Her words pathetic left me in shock. Sure, I'm in my 50s and have average looks. Compared to some beautiful moms out there, I might not measure up. But to have someone say that to me? Even after that, when I got home from work, I tried listening to Jessica's favorite pop songs, watched cartoons, and made an effort to find common topics to talk about. At dinner, I'd bring up those topics, but instead of getting closer to Jessica, I felt the distance between us growing. John sensed the tension between us, even without me mentioning it, and he was concerned. "She probably talks about you behind your back when I'm not around, huh? I'm really sorry." "It's okay. I guess it's the same in every family." I said that to put John at ease. According to my friends with kids, these rebellious phases usually calm down once they hit high school. I kept telling myself to just endure this for a few more years. Whether Jessica would shout hurtful words, throw away the food I made right in front of me, or even throw and break her favorite plate against the wall, I held back my emotions and just endured it. After Jessica started high school, her terrible attitude towards me faded as if she had been telling me lies. She still wasn't very affectionate, but at least she'd respond when spoken to and the hurtful outbursts nearly stopped. But then, strange things began happening. I usually use electronic payments for my daily shopping, but as a backup, I always keep $300 in my wallet. But then I noticed it would decrease by $100. At first, I thought I was mistaken, but when I checked my budgeting app, sure enough, $3,400 was missing every month. "John, did you take my money?" He looked surprised when I asked. "If I borrowed it, I'd tell you right away." "Yeah, I know. Sorry for asking." Which meant the only culprit could be Jessica. Jessica, at her own request, had a part-time job and was managing her expenses from that income. After some time, not only cash, but my credit card started getting used without my knowledge as well. Suddenly, on the card statement where I usually see my apartment rent and utility bills, names of clothing brands and bags started showing up. The card and its PIN were stored in a drawer in our chest, so any family member could access it. When I brought this up with John, who is usually calm, seemed distressed and said, "What the heck is she doing?" "Let's wait before getting angry. Jessica's 17. I want her to come clean on her own." "If you say so, Barbara, maybe we should wait and see a bit longer." John reluctantly agreed with a glum face. After graduating from college, Jessica quit her job after just one day and spent her time at home, working part-time 3 days a week. Does she think I haven't noticed? The money in my wallet keeps decreasing, and the credit card statements just keep piling up. It's not just about the money, I had other things on my mind. Despite having the most free time in the family, Jessica doesn't do any household chores at all. Being away frequently on business trips and working full-time, I tend to rely on John, who works shorter hours. Still, while he handles the laundry, ironing, and other minor tasks, Jessica, who works only 3 days a week, won't even wash her used coffee mug, loathes going shopping even when asked, and spends her weekends playing video games or going out and enjoying herself. One day, as I was thinking of saying something, Jessica hesitantly broached a topic during dinner. I have someone I want to introduce you to," she said. Neither John nor I saw this coming. When we met Charles, who came over to say hello, he was a refreshing, polite, and well-mannered young man. In our living room, sitting upright, Charles, clearly nervous, began to share how he met Jessica. "I first saw Jessica at the reception desk of the hospital. She gave me such a warm smile when I was feeling so weak from a fever." It seemed like Charles was head over heels for Jessica. "She was kind to all the patients, and she looked so radiant." Jessica's part-time job is at a hospital located in an affluent neighborhood. Most patients are wealthy, so it's quite evident she's working there looking for a potential match. She once mentioned she preferred part-time over full-time because she didn't want to commute daily. Charles's family owns a business, and he's apparently a manager at his parents' company. Having caught the eye of a wealthy heir just 6 months into working, everything seems to be going according to Jessica's plan. "We've already set a date for the wedding," Jessica said excitedly. "Where are we having it?" I asked. "In front of the train station, at the Étoile du Soir," she replied. "I've booked the grand hall since we're inviting about 60 people, mostly Charles's colleagues. The invitations have already been sent out. Keep the first Sunday in 3 months open, okay?" "Got it. I'm looking forward to it." John gave a shy smile while Jessica exchanged glances with Charles, who gave a subtle smile. I felt a warmth in my chest. Jessica is not my own child, and we had our differences, but seeing family happy is always welcome. I headed to the kitchen with a spring in my step and prepared a refill of tea. Jessica soon joined. "Attending a wedding? I've been to a few of my friends, but never imagined I'd attend as a mother," I said, lost in thought. Jessica burst into laughter. "What are you thinking? You're not my real mother. Why would I invite you to my wedding?" she said, a smirk on her face. I was stunned. Jessica tried to explain. "Seriously? You're just the housekeeper and our ATM. My real mom is the only mom for me." My previous joy faded instantly. "So, you're inviting your biological mom?" I inferred. "Of course, she's my mom. Just make sure you don't show up with that ugly face of yours. It'd be embarrassing. Got it?" Grinning, Jessica tried to brush it off, and I held back my rising anger, responding in a low voice. She probably felt better having gotten that off her chest. Humming a tune, Jessica returned to the living room. As I arranged the pastries I'd prepared for today on a tray, I felt emptiness inside. All the hurtful words Jessica had said to me came flooding back in my mind. For over 10 years, I'd tried to get closer to Jessica, crying in private and doing my best to raise her. Yet, this was her gratitude. "Fine, if that's how you feel, I won't hold back anymore. Be prepared for your wedding day." Finally, Jessica's wedding day arrived. John and I, without making any special effort, headed to the venue in our everyday clothes. In the waiting room, Jessica and a woman in a black dress were already there, chatting joyfully. Jessica's face contorted in displeasure when she saw me. "Didn't I tell you it'd be embarrassing if you showed up?" John's face turned pale, and as he tried to confront Jessica, I held him back with my hand. The lady in the dress, with her striking features, looked just like Jessica. She looked me up and down, scoffing. "You're not John's new girl, you're his wife, huh? I owe to you for looking after both of them." "Yes. Why are you here?" John, with a face like he had just bitten into a lemon, was met with Lisa's amused laughter. "Oh, a mother can't attend her daughter's wedding? Kicking Barbara out is crazy. She's the one who's raised Jessica for over 10 years. Then, Jessica glared at me resentfully. "I've never considered someone like her as my mother. Just so you know. Come on, it's a happy day. Let's keep the peace." Lisa chimed in, laughing casually. "The guests will be here soon." "Yeah, sure. But because of her, my mood's ruined." Just think of her as someone to make us look good. I was beyond angry and ended up being dumbfounded by the audacity of Jessica and Lisa. Like mother, like daughter. Whatever. They can enjoy their moment now. As John and I were about to leave the room, Jessica said in a sweet voice, "Dad, it's okay. Stay here." John gently pushed me on my back and silently stepped out into the hallway, closing the door behind him. "Let's wait in the lobby until it's time." "Sounds good." About 30 minutes must have passed. As we were chatting in the lobby, the door to the waiting room burst open, revealing Jessica in a wedding dress. Jessica ran down the hallway, burst out the front door, and after a while, she came back pacing the hallway with an irritated look on her face. "Charles! What are you up to? The ceremony's gonna start soon." She ruffled her neatly styled hair and raised her voice. "He still hasn't responded. Charles has never been late before." Jessica's face turned pale with anxiety, while Lisa looked on with concern. Nearby, the confused staff watched the scene unfold. Even as the time for the wedding ceremony passed, neither the groom nor the guests appeared. Even the suited-up hosts and cameramen began to gather and murmur in the hallway. With a somber expression, Jessica apologized to the staff. "I'm sorry, I can't reach my relatives. Even my friend who I asked to man the reception isn't here. What on earth is happening?" "Well, you didn't invite outsiders to the wedding, did you?" Jessica quickly turned to face me. "That's why I told everyone. You said you didn't want to invite strangers." After a few seconds of silence, Lisa rushed to me, yelling, "You did this! How dare you ruin my precious daughter's wedding day!" "Lisa." John grabbed Lisa's arm as she tried to grab me. "Let go! It's Jessica's fault. After getting taken care of for over 10 years, she pulls something like this. Dad got married on his own, right? I didn't ask for it." "You're the one who pushed for the marriage, weren't you?" John frowned, looking incredulous. "You know, right? You getting into those college prep courses and private universities was thanks to Barbara. And without taking out student loans like others, haven't you even thanked her once?" "I knew she was rich when I heard she was the boss, so I pushed for the marriage. Thought she'd have money." Jessica smirked. "Because that's all she has going for her. An old hag like her." "I see. So you married a plain Jane just for the money?" Lisa said with a mocking tone, to which John responded sternly. "You're still all about the money, huh? Spending it on another man again?" Immediately, Jessica's eyes widened. "What?" She looked back and forth between Lisa and John, visibly shaken, and asked Lisa, "Didn't you struggle because you were frequently sick and couldn't work, making it hard to get by, Mom?" Now, my eyes widened in surprise. Considering how Lisa yelled at me just a moment ago, it's hard to believe. Before I realized it, the staff had disappeared. Probably didn't want to get involved in a discussion about family matters. "Dad, Mom said she had to cut corners to pay the rent and couldn't even afford a decent meal, so I gave her the money I got from this woman and bought her designer bags on her card so Mom could cash them in, okay?" John sighed deeply and gave Lisa a sharp look. "Conning your own daughter with lies for money. Typical of you. Well, that's why we split up in the first place." Jessica's eyes grew wide in disbelief and she defended Lisa. "Hold on a minute. I heard you two split because of irreconcilable differences." "No, your mother took money from my salary, gave it to her lover, and then disappeared. It was only after she contacted me later that I allowed her to see you, after finalizing our divorce." Upon hearing John's explanation, Jessica looked utterly shocked. "No way." "I'm glad I got to see you today, Lisa. Saved me the trouble of reaching out. Finally identified your lover too, so I am ready to sue you for emotional sufferings you caused me upon breaking up our marriage." "Are you out of your mind? It has been years after we got divorced. It's way too late now," Lisa shouted back. I just snorted in amusement. "You didn't know? Back during the divorce, if the other party couldn't be identified, you could go back and sue later." Jessica, stunned, approached Lisa with teary eyes. "You lied to me. I took money from her thinking I was repaying a debt to Mom. Oh, please. Playing the good girl now?" Weren't you selling designer handbags and jewelry online and making a ton? As Lisa scoffed, Jessica shivered. Is that true? Jessica puffed out her cheeks, lost for words. Mom, seriously, stop making me out to be some kind of gold digger. Well, maybe she is. But it's a shame. Even if you made a rich guy fall for you, it's pointless if you can't marry him. You were probably looking forward to living the high life forever. Lisa sighed, and Jessica pursed her lips. It's not over yet. I can simply reschedule another date. I'll cover up this mess and make sure I marry him. Why would I let go of a golden goose I've finally found? Jessica, clenching her fist and yelling determinedly, was interrupted by a door opening silently. A man emerged from the room, and all color drained from Jessica's face. Charles! Jessica, looking pale, was met by Charles's cold gaze. I heard everything. From the part where you yelled at your mom. Everything. Jessica collapsed to her knees. No way! Isn't this too much? Who goes this far? It was probably your doing. As Jessica lashed out at me, John calmly spoke. I thought about it too. How to make Jessica reflect on her actions. I didn't want Charles to regret the marriage, so I thought I'd show him the truth. Charles looked down sadly and nodded. I believed that Jessica wasn't like the other women I've dated, that she wasn't after my money. Seems I was wrong. It's a pity. It's not like that. It was just a surprise, a wedding surprise. Right, Mom? That's right. You're not going to call off the engagement, are you? For some reason, even Lisa looked terrified and started shaking. Jessica, this is a problem. I took out a loan counting on your future husband's money. If the engagement's off, we're in trouble. Mom, are you out of your mind? Jessica was seething with anger. How much are you going to rely on me? If you don't have money, get a job. Don't tell me what to do. Since breaking up with my last boyfriend, you're the only one I can count on. If this guy's no good, find another man quickly and marry him. Someone rich enough to support me. I don't care about your life. I'm getting married for myself. Charles, you love me, don't you? You're gonna marry me, right? As Jessica approached with bloodshot eyes, Charles stepped back, grimacing. Sorry, let's call it off. We'll discuss total cost of damages for ruining our engagement through lawyers later. Charles shook off Jessica, who was clinging to him, and fled. Jessica chased him to the parking lot, but seemed to have been driven away. Returning to the entrance, she raged with a demonic look on her face. It's all your fault. I'm gonna sue you for damages. Yeah, right. Ruining my darling daughter's wedding? You really dropped the ball, Barbara. Make it up to Jessica for all the hurt you caused. I had a hand in this too, so Barbara and I will cover it. Jessica, with her face beaming, was taken aback by John's next words. In return, we're gonna bill Jessica for the money she nicked from Barbara's purse and for the card charges she racked up without permission. Makes sense, right? From when she was 16, almost 7 years to last month, she spent about $400 a month. That's $33,600. Together with the card fees, it easily tops $50,000. Yes, indeed. And of course, I'll be charging for all the nasty things you said about me. So, pay up, all right? Fear was evident in Jessica's wide-open eyes as she started to tremble. There's no way I can pay that. Oh, I gave half of it to Mom, so you'll chip in, right? However, Lisa, who'd been backing up Jessica just a while ago, turned her face away in cold rejection. You're the one who said you wanted to help me. Don't make it sound like I took advantage of my own daughter. Well, that's basically what happened. You're gonna pay half. Jessica's voice escalated, and Lisa, looking annoyed, brushed back her long hair. It's impossible. I'm already swamped with paying debts to John and clearing my other debts. I shouldn't have come today. I've already called a lawyer, so running away won't help you now. Lisa, spotting the man in a suit behind us, grimaced despite her beautiful face. I was utterly shocked by Lisa, who seemed recklessly negligent and showed no apparent love for her daughter. Jessica, being raised by a mother like that, might also be a victim. John hired a private investigator and, after several years, found out that Lisa's lover was a bartender at a club she frequented. When John demanded the money for his emotional sufferings they caused from the bartender and Lisa, the bartender immediately paid in full. However, Lisa, unsurprisingly, tried to dodge responsibility, having then no savings. After being told by a lawyer that going to court would be more costly, Lisa finally agreed to make payments in installments. Of course, not trusting her, they also made an arrangement to freeze her bank account if she missed a payment. On top of the debts to John, Lisa had to cover the wedding cancellation fees with Jessica. Lisa apparently had to work for the first time in decades. She's probably working from early morning till late at night. When John saw her on the street, she reportedly looked like a shadow of her former self. Jessica also had to pay Charles for the broken engagement, the last-minute cancellation fees for the venue, and the money she took from Barbara's purse and unauthorized card charges. In total, they had a debt of nearly $100,000. After paying a small portion from her savings, the remainder, like Lisa, would be paid in installments. I've heard Jessica took on multiple part-time jobs in addition to her receptionist position at the hospital, working both weekdays and weekends. To save on rent, she began living with Lisa in a rundown apartment, but since the wedding, their relationship soured, and they've been constantly at odds. As for me, without any unauthorized card use or money taken from my purse, and without the pressure to be friendly with Jessica, I felt a weight lifted off my shoulders. The wedding was cancelled, and after apologizing to the staff, I went home. Later, I received an apology from John. I'm truly sorry for the trouble Lisa and Jessica have caused. It's my responsibility for choosing a wife like that and not raising my daughter properly. It's okay now. It's a good thing you found out about Lisa's affair partner. I smiled at John, who looked genuinely remorseful and apologized deeply. John is indeed a softie and, to be honest, I felt he spoiled Jessica too much. But parenting isn't a one-person job. Jessica turning out so spoiled is partly my fault too since I was always tiptoeing around her. By the way, I have some big news. I told John with a pounding heart. What? Actually, I'm pregnant. John was in shock. I've had it confirmed at the clinic. It's a bit of a late pregnancy. Is it okay if we keep it? Of course. I'm so happy. John's broad smile and warm hug immediately eased my worries. I was afraid he'd only care about his own child, so we decided to wait until Jessica was an adult before trying for a baby. I'd almost given up hope, but miraculously, it happened. I'm looking forward to cherishing and raising our first child.